Welcome to Guilderton. This is where I live at the moment. My name is Bob Johnson, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the monitoring of the Leeuwin current that is peculiar to Guilderton. We're part of the Integrated Marine Observing System here, and on the website I've got open at the moment, you have the ability to select a data collection source, which ranges from things like the satellite to mooring facilities, ocean gliders that are being used. But there's a fixed facility here in Guilderton which is called Acorn, and this one here, if I go to it, shows the major significance of the Guilderton little block. There's a blue dot around the Guilderton Fremantle area, which I'm going to home in on. I apologise for my computer skills in this way, but wrong way. So there's our location in the scheme of things, and the Leeuwin current is travelling from north to south. It's one of the few currents that does travel north to south. What we're aiming in on is the this coloured patch. The top point in the touching the coast is Guilderton, and the second point, where there's a little arrow down the bottom, is Fremantle. And at both these points there are a set of high-frequency radar masts. They transmit signals out onto the wave surface and then pick up the reflections back. And by analysing those with quite complicated computers that are in a sea container, they are able to work out the temperature of the water and the direction in which it's travelling. So you end up, and I'm hoping to just go a little bit closer on here, with each little square representing these changes of current direction. And it reminds me very much of a method of painting where you collect all the little bits of the colours show the change of temperature, and the arrows show the direction of that water, the way it's travelling. So now I'm going in closer. You can actually see the arrows all the way through. It's like a tiny dot arrangement.
And so you can change the dates here?
Yeah, we can change the dates on the left hand side, so you can see what's happening spring and autumn. If I try to change that, you can see the way the patterns change with the time of the season. This is showing from sort of October through to from March through to December last year in that pattern. Now the information's used for a number of different reasons. I think particularly here to monitor the rock lobster industry, which is very much affected by the flow and direction of the Leeuwin current and the temperature of the current. So it's used by the fishing industry, in other words. It's also used as a way of monitoring the flow of the current itself, and I think if we're talking about climate change, analysis of current flow is probably going to be one of the early signals of change that we're anticipating. But the system was also used when the MH370 went down, to try and predict where parts of the wreckage would have ended up, and so on. So it has a number of different uses.
And it's the Australian Ocean Data Network?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
Welcome to Guilderton. As you can see, it's a long weekend. We're at Guilderton, the estuary of the Moore River, and today I want to talk about my volunteer involvement with the Northern Agricultural Catchment Council, which is abbreviated to NAC for short. and they're involved in the environmental photo monitoring of the beach erosion on this section of coast, and the name of the application which goes on your smartphone is called Photomon. So this is their website, and here, map of Western Australia, you can see Perth at the southern end of the thing and Shark Bay up at the north, and each of these little logos along the coast are points where volunteers are involved in taking monthly in summer and bi-monthly in winter photographs recording the changes in the beach and the erosion of it and changes. So on any one of these little logos you can click to get the information. So on the top one I could click for Kalbarri, but I've already gone to Guilderton, prepared this earlier, and you can see the little township here of Guilderton with 3 locations where I actually take 6 different photographs on a regular basis. Now the clever thing about the app that's on the phone is that once I've taken the first photograph, that photograph is there as a template, a guide, a screen, so that every time I take a second photograph from the same location, I'm using that template to make sure that I get the horizon in the same place, that I get the physical outlines in the same place, and so that the photographs are repetitive and you can see the changes in the locations. Now, give you an example, I suppose, that this one here shows the beach viewed from the groin going south, quite a significant expanse of sand between the shore and the sea, and then the next photograph shows the same view from the same location after the winter storms. So you can see all the sand has disappeared and the rock base, a limestone rock base, is exposed. Quite a different picture, and this changes through the seasons. All that sand comes from somewhere, gets deposited on the beach, and then suddenly all that sand moves off, almost like tourists, here for one moment and gone for another. Now I want to click in on the views of the river mouth, because most people find this the most attractive part of the Guilderton area. And again, I take it from the same position, the horizon's the same, and so on, and you can see the change in the way the river breaks out and the way the beach builds up and so on. You can also see the change in the light and the season as we move from winter to summer, so on. That's a June photograph. The river's had rain in it so that it's broken through, and then there in July it's closing over with the waves, and we're moving in now to August where it's sealed over. Bit of a storm in September, and the waves actually coming over the bar itself, but the river is closed. It's quite interesting to see the way it changes, and sometimes the river breaks to the south, like that one, and other times if I flick through, I think I'll find one where it's broken out quite well to the north. That's a southern side one there. Don't want to go too fast, we get giddy. Maybe if I...
How's that one? I went all the way down the beach.
Yeah. But it does break out to the north sometimes. There it is.
So how many locations do you have volunteers doing this?
I'm not sure, to be precise, but I know that there's something like 120 volunteers doing this process up and down the coast.
Right.
Because in most areas there'd be 2 or 3 people, like in Guilderton, who've got the app on the phone. And if I was away at the time, on holiday or something like that, someone else could do it, or we might take turns to do it. It's not meant to be a burden on anybody. In fact, I quite enjoy it. It's a good walk between the locations. And I think when you live in an area, it's nice to have a record of the changes like this.
And what kind of are people noticing trends by looking at all of this information?
Well, I started doing it in March 2013, so I've done it for nearly 4 years. I'd still say that it's too early to notice any significant scientific changes, but the important thing is, I think, that if we do it over a long enough period, we won't be faced with those sort of situations where you're talking to an ageing member of the community who's sure he can remember it never opening up this way or that way, or these rocks were never exposed before. Whereas in fact the memory is not as accurate as this system.
So you're taking your photos from up there?
Yeah, from that actual gazebo at the top there. That's this photograph. But the other photographs are down on the beach itself. Let's have it on the main beach. It's quite an easy one to go and visit yourself and have a look at them. So that's the main beach looking north. Quite a nice cloud system. That's looking south. And that area...
So you do north and south?
I do north and south in these positions, yes. And it's quite interesting there that the coastal vegetation on the left-hand side here is quite thin and bare, whereas if I look at that one, it's got quite a bit more vegetation, and it's actually moved out because I'm standing in the same position. So that's changed. The winter storms sometimes will cut into that. So that's quite a good vegetation on that side.
Remarkable.